Companions are such a vital part of an RPG. They can make or break a game, and that's probably doubly important for BioWare and Mass Effect. Hi, it's Rima from MEOdyssey, and today I'm going to share with you my companion wishlist for Mass Effect Andromeda. And let me say this at the start, this has nothing to do with romance. I've already done a wishlist on a romance choices and things like that for Mass Effect Andromeda. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out by clicking the link on the screen right now. And these aren't in any particular order either, so I hope you enjoy. This is a kind of a vague topic because there's a few like subheadings in here, but I'll try and simplify it as much as I can and try and explain it without rambling too much, so wish me luck. The first kind of point is I'd like characters to be, or the companions to be balanced in a way, so when you're taking one out you don't feel disadvantaged for taking them. I understand that some characters could possibly be, I guess, weaker depending on their class, so I guess soldiers would logically be stronger than possibly biotics, but I found personally when I was playing through Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 specifically, that when you took a character out, they would die way quicker than other ones, and it made it difficult in harder modes. And like, specifically I'm talking about Jacob and Jack. And Jacob I didn't really care altogether that much for, but Jack, she was a great biotic, she was a great character, but she would just die so quickly. And as the game got further into Mass Effect 2, it became really hard to take her on certain missions because I just couldn't trust her to actually stay alive for like more than a couple minutes. So having some kind of baseline would be nice, and then obviously if you mod them right and things like that, you could probably increase their levels and things like that, but having a balance would be very nice, just initially so you get to know the characters a bit before you start going into the later stages of the game. Now there's different classes in Mass Effect, there's quite a few of them, and your companions kind of follow the same kind of class system as the character did in the trilogy. So you'd have your engineers, your infiltrators, your biotics, and like some RPGs, I would love to see if your classes could actually have some kind of effect on the missions and the kind of squad dynamics. So certain classes could give you certain buffs and imagine certain tasks like hacking a console or unlocking a certain pathway through a door or even entering a certain area could be class dependent. And that means that I guess you kind of strategically plan your squad so that you have the best chance of maybe unlocking loads of things. And it's kind of hard to say it in words, but basically what I would love is a more fine-tuned version of the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, because that was the first and the last time you got to have this really strategic element in the game. And I don't know about you, but I was on edge when I played Mass Effect 2 suicide mission for the first time, and then it got worse as I played it more, because I knew if I picked the wrong person to, open up the vent kind of system, or if I had the wrong person holding up the biotic shield or leading the other team, it would screw me and someone would die. And on occasion, someone did die, or more than one person died. And as much as that made me on edge, I loved it because it made sure that when I played it the next time, I would obviously be like doubly sure, making sure exactly. And I took ages picking things. And that would be amazing to see back in Mass Effect Andromeda. This goes without saying, but at least one of the companions needs to be a native from the Andromeda Galaxy. And I guess why I say that is because if you look at the trilogy, you had Tali, you had Garrus, Liara, Rex, and a whole bunch of others, and they gave you a perspective on, I guess, their cultures and their races and the dynamics of the Milky Way. And one character that did that more than anyone else was Javik. Now, Javik should have been a main character in Mass Effect 3, not just a DLC character, because he was such a vital part of that plot for me. But he gave you such an amazing perspective on the Protheans, so much so that he shocked me, and I know in-game he shocked Liara, but he was so much more different than I thought he was going to be, and that's so important because he provided you so much context to what the Protheans were, and basically about the Reaper War, and to have someone from the Andromeda Galaxy being part of your team would allow you to have that perspective, like allow you to have that insight into what you're doing. And considering the fact that we're basically the strangers, we're the aliens kind of coming into this game, it would be so interesting to have that kind of perspective of seeing someone with you being like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Maybe you shouldn't do this. This is that. And it's something I think that would be quite crucial to the squad. I'm pretty sure they're going to do it. I'd be kind of disappointed if they didn't involve some kind of native alien race or some kind of native crew member, but at this point, we don't know what's going to happen, but I'd really, really want one.
Commander Shepard, it must be an honor to have a Prothean fighting alongside you.
He's starting to learn his way around. Javik is one of the best soldiers I've ever seen.
The commander is a capable warrior as well, for a human who once lived in caves. Thank you, Commander. I've enjoyed my time here, walking among the young. I will see you back on the Normandy.
Mass Effect's all about choices, but choice of companions isn't really been prominent in the trilogy. You did have subtle ones here and there, like Samara versus Morinth, but again, that was Paragon and Renegade based. In Mass Effect Andromeda, there's possibly going to be a few factions, races, different powers, and the idea that your choices and morality might cause a kind of a shockwave through this kind of playground is going to mean that maybe certain characters might want to join you and certain characters might not, as well as the fact that you might be able to choose certain characters to come along with you. And why I think that's interesting is because it just gives that game a little bit more replayability, so you might play a different way the next time you go through just to pick up a certain character. And as these characters apparently have way more dialogue than the characters of the trilogy, it might mean that you could possibly just pick your choices a bit more carefully this time round, just so that you want a specific person to join you. Now, if I say to any Mass Effect fan, Caden or Ashley, that probably gets a definitive answer most of the time. I mean, most people probably pick the same person each time. I know I did. And if you're like me, the choice between Caden and Ashley kind of hit you in the face pretty hard in the game, because when I got to Mass Effect 1 and when I was playing Mass Effect 1 and I obviously had the choice with Rex, I didn't realise that was actually a choice because I managed to talk him down. So then I went into the Caden Ashley choice thinking that I would be able to loop back and get the other person back, and that didn't happen and I lost one of them, and that was like, I just didn't think the game had the guts to do that, and it was amazing because I was just like, what, hold on, I'm not getting them back. And as much as like I was kind of like, what at that point, speechless like right now, it was a great thing to happen because the storytelling was so great that you just kind of take a double take. You thought that, oh my god, my choice actually had an impact there. That's amazing. And as the trilogy's gone on, characters have died and there's been a risk of them dying. Specifically in Mass Effect 3, we've had characters that have actually full on died, like Thane and Mordin in Legion. And then in Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, there's chances of characters dying depending on your choices in a suicide mission and certain things you do in Mass Effect 3. And I want that to carry on in Mass Effect Andromeda. As much as I probably will love most of the companions in Mass Effect Andromeda, I want there to be a risk of them dying depending on my choices, because that brings a bit of risk to what you're doing. And it also brings a bit of, I guess, replayability. I love the word replayability. It means that if you fail to do something or you've done something that causes a consequence where someone that you actually cared about dies, it means that next time you play it around, you might play it a different way. And it kind of brings the idea of like the Wild West, because you don't really know what's going to happen and the choices you make might screw everything up, but it's interesting. And also environments and modding and all that kind of stuff might play into it. Make it more of a risky kind of game. The storyline kind of adjusts to what you do. And my final point is probably as important as it was in the romance wishlist. I know I said I wasn't going to bring it up, but there you go. Companions, much like your romance choices, need to have personality, because that's why we play the games, or that's why I play the games. I play it because I love the characters so much, and I love the companions in Mass Effect, and if they didn't have the personalities they did, I just wouldn't play them. And it's the same in most BioWare games. I love personalities on characters, and the companions are probably the most important people to have personalities, because that's why you engage with them, that's why you love them so much, and that's why most of the time you pick them to join you in your missions, because you want their perspective on certain things, you want them to talk to you about certain things. And much like your romance choices, they need to be complex. They need to have identities and storylines that are fitting for them. Their morality should probably be on point as well. They should have moralities that can probably be affected by yours. Whether they are a bit more shady or whether they are really, really righteous, they should be affected by what you do. And I guess that kind of all goes into something very important for when we're playing Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda is all about exploration, and We're probably going to be trolling through landscapes for a while. Apparently the game's fairly big. And the banter system, which I know that they're working on, it has to be on point. And if these characters don't have personalities to carry this banter system, it's going to be pointless. Because if you're kind of going through this landscape for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and just wandering, exploring, and just trying to get resources and things like that, and their banter is not great or non-existent, it's gonna kill the mood for even taking any of these characters out with you, because it's gonna be way more important in Mass Effect Andromeda than it has ever been in the Mass Effect trilogy, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's me. Mainly personality just has to be on point.
Go! I'll cover you! Move! That's cheating! We're on the ladder! This is Shepard! We need to...
That's why I love hanging out with you guys. Why shoot something once when you can shoot it 46 more times?
But I don't know about you, I'm so excited about Mass Effect Andromeda specifically because I just want to be introduced to a whole bunch of new characters. I play BioWare games so I can be introduced to characters. I fell in love with them in the Mass Effect trilogy, I fell in love with them in the Dragon Age series, and I'm gonna fall in love with them hopefully in Andromeda. I just cannot wait. But that's why companions are so important, because they're the ones who kind of join you on this journey. And Mass Effect has a wealth of characters, and I'm just hoping the legacy kind of continues on. But that is my wish list for the future companions of Mass Effect Andromeda. I tried to keep this as concise as possible, but it's a wish list video, so, you know, I kind of ramble. But I would love to know what your wish list is for your companions, what you would want from them, what you wouldn't want from them. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please share this video to help it grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.